Okay, so this is part 2 about the enemy coming after our kids so hard. And I wanted to come on and just say, while it's still fresh in my memory, why he's coming after our kids. Because I said he's been going after them for a long time, unchallenged almost. And he's been sneaking around. Before we even teach them identity, he's stolen it. So the enemy steals it before we can spell it. He's already stolen it. And we're trying to create something off something that's already been stolen, which is very hard to do because, see, you have to get it back first, and then you have to work and teach it. It's not something you can just start from a point where you don't even have it because it's been stolen. You have to learn it. You have to snatch it back, and you have to learn it and go after it. But that's about stealing before we can spell. But I wanted to say real quick why he goes after kids and why it's been an area that he stays after so strong. He goes there before we even teach our kids. He goes there and he gets a head start. How does the enemy get a head start on our babies before we have the opportunity to really cover them and teach them and show them? He's getting a head start while we're over here going, oh, my baby, I'm so excited, and oh, my little 1-year-old and my 2-year-old is wonderful, which it is a wonderful time, but we're not out there covering and guarding them and protecting them because we don't know. Daycare, even in some churches, it depends on where your kid goes, who they spend time with. You never know what's being put on them. Even before birth in the womb, you don't know. So you have to constantly guard and cover, because we want to keep the identity instead of trying to go find it and then teach it. We want to just have it and make sure that we're teaching it and learning it to our children and even ourselves, because we can't teach it if we don't have it. But I just wanted to say real quick, the reason why God showed me this, and I was reading in Psalms 8, the whole chapter. If you read the whole chapter, you have to read it because he showed me a few different things. When you read Psalms 8, it's talking about how wonderful God is and amazing he is, which he is. But when you get to verse 2, to me, it kind of seemed like, wait, what? So the first time I read it, I was like, okay, just reading it normal. But God took me back to it multiple times. And when I went back and I read just simply verse 2, because God highlighted it for me, verse 2 says, through the praise of children and infants, you have established a stronghold against your enemies to silence the foe and the avenger. So that's the NIV version of Psalm 8:2. Through the praise of children and infants. And other versions that you can read it in also say infants, babies. So this is not about teens and preteens. That's a whole other thing we have to work at. You got to start at the root before you can try to work on anything, okay? Because you got to go find the root, dig, and it takes a long time. As babies, it's not as difficult because they're already there. Even at 5 and 10 years old, that's much better trying to find a root there than trying to find the root when they're 30, 40, 50, and 60. That's a lot of digging. Have you ever seen a 60-year-old tree? You want to dig that root up? That's a lot of work. It can be done, but it's a lot harder than trying to dig up a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old root, or a 4-year-old root, or a 1-year-old root. So anyways, in Psalms 8:2, he's saying how wonderful God is. And to me, it just kind of stuck out because it was kind of like hidden. And it was a hidden revelation of how amazing children are. The enemy is trying to go after kids, and not trying. He's succeeding. It's not like he's not doing it. And he's doing it well. I mean, we as adults, we are so naive, and we just will not listen, and we do not pay attention or discern enough. Like, just flat out, we don't. I am not excluding myself. I'm in this too. We all just flat out do not pay enough attention when they're babies, infants, toddlers, preschool, kindergarten. We don't pay enough attention. I don't understand what the age is that we start like finally paying attention, like, oh. And I feel like it's when they're old enough to start articulating things to us that it's like, oh, huh. But by then they've already been tainted and we have work to do. Let's go to the root and start at the root. Right? To work on the root, stay at the root, start at the root. So anyways, Psalm 8:2 just really showed me about many things I talk about and discuss, which is through the praise of children. The enemy is going into these places and he's taking children and he's doing things behind these curtains that people are not exposing, that people don't want to say, that people don't want to talk about because it's hard or because they just want to act like they don't see it. Because the enemy knows how strong that is. Yes, adults, we're strong, we're great, we have great warfare. But see, this says through the praise of children and infants, you've established a stronghold against your enemies to silence the foe and the avenger. That's pretty clear. The children have it. And to me, God showed me they're the key. We're not paying attention. They're the key. They are the key that we need to keep clean, to keep covered, to keep guarded, to equip them in all manners of warfare and teach them things. But it's also what we have to do and what we have to understand as adults, because, you know, a 1-year-old, an infant, is not going to be going into war like we can. But God established that through the praise of children and infants. And it says infants. I mean, you can go in different versions and it says infants. It's so important. The enemy is in these camps. He's trying to take these kids. He's trying to take their identity, steal it before we can spell it, because he knows the power that is in it. He knows the power that is there, and he knows what will crush him. So he's going to crush it before it crushes him. We always say, I want to get to the devil and crush him because he's crushed me. How about we raise up kids who crush the devil before he even gets to crush them? How amazing would that be, right? Let's crush him before he can crush us. And God has given me such wisdom and sight to see things, and it's, let's crush him. Let's teach these kids. Let's as adults learn ourselves so then we can teach. Let's pray and cover, because out of their mouths, out of their praise, out of their worship, they can silence the foe and the avenger. They are the key to the power. There is such power in children that we as adults, we think too much, we worry too much. We have too much of just adult life going on in our brains to fully tap in, and it's much harder for us to do it than children. You can just tell a child immediately, honey, you are Thor, pick up your hammer and wield it against that enemy, and they will do it. They have so much power in them, and we're not showing them, and we're not telling them, and we're not teaching them. And the devil is running around knowing this, taking them right underneath our feet, and sometimes we're giving them away to the devil. He's not even having to come and take. We just simply give them away for things. But that's a different thing. I wrote about that, but that's a different topic. But I just wanted to come on and say real quick, as in part 2, to why the enemy is taking the kids, why we're not paying attention, is because we just don't think, oh, they don't know what they're talking about, oh, they're just too young. Yeah, they do know. And we need to listen better, and we need to respond better, and we need to be more active and just listen better. You know, kids who can't articulate everything, they understand though, and they know what's going on. And when they don't understand, they feel. As babies and infants, they can feel, you're a hot mess, I'm staying away from you, and you seem good people. And we're like, no, they're good people, and they're no, and the baby's like, no, I can feel this is a hot mess, no, let's go over here. But we don't listen, and we have to do that. And we have to pay attention. The enemy is running free in this land. It's just taking kids, and we're not paying attention, and he's just chopping down things. And it's easier to teach identity than to go steal it back and then teach it. It's just so much harder. So how about we pay attention, we start listening, we start praying for more discernment, we start being more aware, because I promise you, God will show you things that make you just go, did not notice that before. I promise you he will. Just ask him and he will show you things that you just wouldn't believe that kids deal with and they're experiencing, and where the enemy is just coming in, and you think, oh no, that's not a big problem, but it is. It is. And he plants these seeds, and he's patient, and the enemy will wait you out. He will. We don't have time for that. These kids don't have time for that. We have to start rescuing them. We have to start being there and protecting and covering and equipping. So that way, instead of trying to help the teen who's already been tainted, we can raise someone who knows identity. So when they get to be the teen, they can help someone else who's tainted. They can help someone else. And then eventually we're raising generations of people who are snapping back at the devil, saying, nope, I might be 5, but you're not having it. I might be 6, but you're not having it. I might even be 4, but devil, I don't think so. And then they can articulate, and then they grow up to be parents who are better discerners than we are, who listen better, who understand better. And then they're raising babies who then also are better and better. That's how we fix this. That's how we can get to the generations, is we start at the root. We start at the root to fix the root. So I just wanted to come on and say that. So I hope that this, said something to you, and that you are able to discern something, and that God is equipping you to just discern and see and help and protect these kids. And it's not just your kid, and it's not just your grandkids, and it's not just, your nieces and nephews, because that's half of the problem. I didn't really mean to go into that, but that's half of the problem. We're just like, I'll cover my little section over here. I'm not gonna worry about your section over there. That's not for me. I'm good. But we need to do that. So I just wanted to come on and say that real quick. So thank you. And I pray that, again, you can find something that God shows you that can help you and can help the children that you are influencing and that you are around.